Devin Haney just moved up to 140 pounds. Fans are concerned. He's looking pretty big. Right here, you see him. He's vacationing in Dubai. He went to the card last month in December. Happy New Year to everybody. 2024. Let's make it a brilliant one. So he's pictured with a 6'6" heavyweight, Anthony Joshua, who just beat Otto Vailin. And you see, it almost looks like Devin Haney's head is bigger than Anthony Joshua. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego. And fans have been hitting me up with a particular picture of Devin Haney because they feel Devin Haney is looking rather large. As I mentioned, Devin Haney just moved up to 140 pounds. So people are questioning, like, how does he look this big? Hey, Ego Weight Watchers, aka ILL, where I give you a look into the fighter lifestyle, before, after, and progress picks, especially when they have an upcoming fight. Now, Devin Haney just fought and now on vacation in the Middle East. These are recent pictures of him. He's in the desert playing with the animals. And he definitely looks like he's eating nicely. I will show you and go through some of the pictures and give you my thoughts. He just fought last month. It hasn't even been 1 month because he fought December 9th and today is January 1st. And you see he's already like feeling back out. Listen, this is not shocking to me. I told you guys that we're in the era of boxing where this is the case. Most fighters do not fight at their walking around weight. I don't know how much he's weighing, but just from the eye test, Ego Weight Watchers, you could tell it's not 140 pounds because you see him on the scale. You see him, the next day at the fight, they said he ballooned up to 165 and he looks bigger than he did the night of the fight. Because you have to imagine, if you weigh in on a Friday and then you fight on a Saturday, you literally only have a certain amount of time to replenish and rehydrate. Because you also don't want to feel sluggish or lethargic in the actual fight. But now if it's your off season, you're on vacation, you're liable to weigh however much you want. This is Devin Haney dancing. And again, I don't know how much he's weighing here, but just the Ego Weight Watchers eye test is more than 165. And it's just what it is. Now, the reason this is important is the Gervonta Davis fight. I told you my honest opinion, and seeing these pictures, it's no mystery why Devin Haney has already talked to, like, before he moved up to 140 pounds, he was already talking about earning a title in the third division, which is welterweight, fighting the likes of Keith Thurman. I seen his name linked to Mario Barrios. Some people even said they wanted Jaron Ennis. I think Devin Side said something about eventually fighting Ennis, things like that. So it's no mystery. I see why he wants to eventually fight at welterweight. Now, there is a video of Devin Haney, and it's like a vlog style video from the Regis Prograis fight. And it just shows you the grueling nature of fighters making weight and what it takes for certain fighters to make weight. Aha, right here, this is scenes from that clip from Devin Haney. It looks like he filmed a vlog for the Regis Prograis fight. If this is what he had to go through to make the weight, you see him, he's doing his mitt work. You have to look at the layers, look at what he's actually wearing. He's wearing a full like tracksuit or sweater or whatever, probably has an undershirt, and you see his face, looking a little bit gaunt. Look, now they're wrapping him in hotel robes and then wrapping them on. So these are multiple layers that you're seeing that Devin Haney has on. And then they put him in a big, thick, ritzy hotel robe. and then they threw towels on top of him, and he's laying on the ground. Look, and they mummified him just like a mummy. So that's Devin Haney. This is what he has to do to make weight. Now, I've been with fighters who have actually done similar tactics in their hotel room. They're basically turning their hotel room into a makeshift sauna, if you will, where they wrap them like a burrito, wrap them up like a tamale. And I've even been in the room where they turn the heater on. So they put the thermostat as high as the hotel thermostat will go. And in addition to all these clothing layers, then they put the robe on top of you. Then they put the towels. So this is what you're seeing from Devin Haney. So it's pretty amazing to see the lengths that fighters go through to make weight. This is his nutritionist speaking. Look now when it looks like he needs help up. I don't know how long that process was, but he looked like he's almost in a weakened state and needed a little bit of help up. Now he's like derobing. There's my dude, Kevin Newman. Look, one layer he just took off. You see that? He just took off one bulky sweater on top of the robes and everything else. Then he took off his track jacket. Then he got a t-shirt underneath. No, actually, it's the thermal underneath. I know y'all see this. Look, thermal. Now there's the bare skin. You know what I mean? Pause. So these fighters got to go through a lot for not every fighter, but, a lot of fighters, because their weight cuts are extreme. And that's what I'm here to talk about. So why is this important? Why is Ego talking about weight this, weight that? It's because your boy Ego continues to be right. And here's another picture of Devin Haney that you guys see. So the reason why this is important, for me at least, is because I'm a realist. I told you that from the beginning. When it comes to this boxing game, I keep it realistic. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who are banking on and hoping and wanting to see a Gervonta Davis fight. But I've said the same thing from the beginning to now. I don't see the Gervonta Davis fight happening because of what's happening with the weight. If I'm wrong, great. I would love to be wrong. It's not often that I'm wrong. So anytime the world makes me wrong or the universe says, oh, Ego, you wrong, I love it because it just gives me an opportunity to grow. But from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of people, on YouTube or Facebook groups or wherever, TikTok, and people making all this content, all these videos, and they're missing the mark, in my opinion. A lot of this back and forth. I get it. Gervonta Davis, he's talking trash occasionally. Bill Haney and Devin Haney, they're talking trash on their side, amping up the fight, doing a good job. Everybody's doing a good job of building the intensity of the fight. But for me, seeing is believing. Some things in this world, you got to show me. And this is one of those things 2024 is going to have to show me, because what I'm looking at, what I'm witnessing is you have Devin Haney, who looks like he's moving up to 140. That should be, for you, that should be a relief. For the fighter, it should be a break. Like, man, I was having to cut down to 135, and it makes you wonder, how is he even making 135 if making 140, that's supposed to be a relief and a break from the norm because you don't have to cut the extra 5 pounds. But even that, as I showed you from the vlog style documentary short from Devin Haney, it looks like even that is a task. That's why it makes sense that he's talking about potentially fighting at 47. Maybe his frame is just filling out to the point where it's becoming harder and harder to make these lighter weights. And it is what it is. That's what happens. But then when you look at Tank Davis, I did a recent Ego Weight Watchers of Tank Davis, and the kid is looking lean and he's keeping his weight down, and he's been making 135. So everybody's trying to build up this Devin Haney fight, and it's not looking realistic to me, for the weight. Now, I know some people are like, yeah, Tank, just fight him at whatever weight. Just fight him at any weight. but that's not realistic for boxing at all. It's not realistic to expect anybody who's the A side to strategically completely be devoid of common sense and give up all the leverage, all the angles and, you know, everything that they've earned as an A side, give it up or give any opponent any advantage. Like, for example, if Gervonta is the A side, why would he fight against Devin Haney in the Bay Area? Make that make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Same thing with like Devin Haney. You know, if let's say he moved up to 147 and he was going to fight Virgil Ortiz, or let's say 54, whatever weight Virgil Ortiz is at, right? Why would you fight Virgil Ortiz in Texas, where he's from, if Devin Haney was the A side? Or if you had the leverage over Jaron Ennis and they were going to fight, why would you fight him in Philly? I mean, it's just common sense. And some people attribute, oh, this guy's scared and all that. These guys have been fighting their whole life. To me, it's a dumb play for you to give up all of what you work for and then risk this. And Frank Martin talked about this as well. Like, he was already going to have to go to ESPN to fight Shakur Stevenson, already fight on the Ops Network, Ops promotion, because he's not signed with Bob Arum at Top Rank. They have no vested interest in Frank Martin. The star that they're building is Shakur Stevenson, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said on top of that, the money wasn't right. So that makes sense why a fight, money is probably perhaps the number one reason why a fight would not happen, right? And that's the reality of it. And everything, this is the thing. I'm the realest in boxing. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Everything that I'm saying, if Devin Haney is the A side over a guy, I wouldn't expect him to do this stuff either. But the problem is, in boxing, what you're witnessing is extreme biases to the point of favoritism, where the people will say they stand for one thing and they don't really stand for that, because they don't even keep it consistent and realistic to what they said was their rule. Me, A side is the A side. As I've always stated, A side rules, period. You can get mad at it, but I don't expect Floyd Mayweather to fight Manny Pacquiao in the Philippines when he's the A side, or to fight Ricky Hatton in the UK, or to fight Miguel Cotto in Puerto Rico. I mean, he could do it if he wants to, but from the Sun Tzu teachings and 48 Laws of Power and Art of War, that's a stupid play. And we've seen it recently with Errol Spence, where Errol Spence gave up probably too much ground. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, because Crawford is a terrific talent. I'm not saying that's the only reason why Errol Spence lost to Terrence Crawford. However, all of those advantages that you negated and gave up did not help Errol Spence at all. Like, if Errol Spence is going to fight a dangerous fight no matter what, but then on top of that, you're on a long layoff, you're coming off a potential injury, right, recently with his detached retina, you're allowing Crawford to get more money than the market has allowed or stated. So you're letting Crawford get his way. You're letting Crawford win and get a coin flip, which is unheard of when there's clear-cut A-sides and things like that. So everything I'm saying makes a lot of sense. So in addition to fighting a great fighter at Crawford, you've already given up a lot at the negotiating table. So again, when I'm looking at the Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney, I don't expect an A-side, which Tank clearly is that. I don't expect an A-side to say, oh, I'll fight Devin Haney at 147. And it's not even an issue of fear, because why, if people aren't being biased, then why does it only work one way? So the A side got to give up his rights, got to give up, reinvent the wheel, if you will, and fight Devin Haney, because he can't make 35 comfortably. So he has to make the concession. This is what boxing is telling me. The A side got to make the concession to give the younger fighter and the fighter who probably has more of a struggle to make the lighter weight classes because his body is outgrown. Gervonta got a sacrifice. But then the flip side of that coin would be, if Devin is the B side, why wouldn't the B side have to make sacrifices and come down to 135, which Devin said that he was willing to do before the Regis Prograis fight. So you got to look at boxing from both sides of the coin, and that doesn't make sense. And that's also reinventing the wheel. It makes literally no sense for the A side. Like, if you want the Canelo fight, John Ryder can't say, oh, I want it at a catch weight. John Ryder got to shut up and just kind of accept the terms that Canelo's laid out and, you know, argue the best that he can in negotiations, which is not much, to get the fight and try to get the opportunity to beat the man. So it makes zero sense. And I want you guys to ask yourself, if we're being real and we're being fair and we're being realistic and we're not being biased and we're being objective, how does it make any sense for the A side to forego all of their A side luxuries to make the sacrifice? But then the guy who is going to have to sacrifice to make 135 doesn't have to as the B side. That doesn't even make sense. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business. For these reasons, Ego Weight Watchers, I don't see this fight really being a thing, at least not next. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. You dig? I'm out.